Welcome to the Handyman Pros Radio Show. Home improvement and maintenance tips from the pros.
Welcome to the Handyman Pros Radio Show Action Edition, where today we feature an item in the news. And I'm here with my old buddy Larry. Hey, man, what's been going on?
So, working in the handyman business is always an adventure, is it not, Mr. John? It's always an adventure.
Life is a real adventure in general.
Yes, it is. So anyway, the other day I was in a customer's house, and they were asking me about how are the various different ways that critters get in houses, and they said they literally said critters, and I said, well, like there's about a bazillion ways that critters can get in your house, right? And I traded a few stories about how I've had stuff come down the chimneys and this and that. But I mentioned this to you the other day because, as we've told you, John and I, we talk every day about various things going on in the handyman business. And you related a story to me from the news that is a good one. So I'm going to tell Johnny to take it away, Johnny.
Yeah, well, I ran across a story now, before I get to it, you say coming down the chimney. I had when I was in Chicago, we had a raccoon come down our chimney, and it went down to the basement to the bottom fireplace, and walk around, and feet were covered with soot, so you could see where it was walking, and up the chimney it went during the night. So that was kind of weird.
That was Santa Raccoon.
Yeah, that was Santa. It was Santa dressed as a raccoon, and so I ran across a story when I thought about this, the other day, and I absolutely, I had this story that just kind of popped at me, and it was from South Florida. So they got quite an iguana issue down there.
They do,
and when I lived down there were some iguanas. Now they're everywhere.
Well, yeah, my mom and dad had pet ones out in the yard. Yeah, they had pet ones out in the yard, and they're big.
And
big.
Oh yeah, and so if you don't restrict them, like in a cage, they're almost like fish, right? If you put them in a small cage or something, they don't get big, but when they're outside, boy, they're like, as my father-in-law used to say, they're unlimited, and they just keep getting bigger and bigger now, and the weather down there is pretty conducive to an iguana population where these people had let them go as pets. And they just started to, propagate like crazy, and it's kind of funny, right? That, once the weather down there hits about 50 degrees or whatever, or there's a little cold snap, these things come falling out of the trees, and they tell everybody, watch your head, because these things, because they're cold blooded, and they just, kind of, fall asleep and fall out of trees and stuff. But this article, speaking of how things get into the house in South Florida, an iguana came in through the roof vent of this house and crawled down the vent pipe, where you vent all your water out.
Your plumbing vent.
Your plumbing. Yeah, your plumbing. And guess where it came up? I
don't know, but you're going to tell me, Johnny.
In the toilet.
That would be quite a surprise.
And the lady had just used the toilet. And so this really freaked her out. Well, she had to get a plumber out there, and so here's this great big iguana still alive, climbing out of the toilet.
So the moral of the story is, what's the quick tip of the day?
Keep the toilet lid shut.
That's a start. If you live in South Florida, keep the toilet lid shut. The second thing I would tell you is make sure you put some kind of a screen over the top of your plumbing vent. That would be Larry's quick tip of the day, because I will say this. There are, because you really don't want an iguana coming up through the toilet, nor anything else. But I will say this. I will say most plumbing vents do have caps on them, John, and do you know why? It's generally to keep birds out, because certain types of birds will nest in like plumbing vents.
Once you plug up a vent, then
and you have problems.
Drains. You got problems. But all kinds of things can get in through the
including iguanas coming up through your toilet. Wow. That's a new one on me. It doesn't it? I mean, well, it does surprise me actually. But anyway, well, John, do we have anything else for in the news?
No, Larry, I think we covered it.
Just like our plumbing vents and keeping our toilets closed. That's right. All right, folks, don't forget to join our Facebook group at Handyman Pros. Join in the conversation. You could leave us pictures of things that have climbed in your house if you'd like. We would love to see them. You can send us an email, too. That's questions@handymanprosradioshow.com. You can go to our homepage, and you can also follow us on Twitter as well, at Handyman Radio. And, folks, they've changed Apple. You know, I don't know, John, I don't know if you're aware of this, but they've changed Apple. Now you cannot subscribe to our podcast. You have to follow us. So if you would be so kind, tell your friends and family and folks to follow us on, what is it, iTunes? Yeah, any of them. Just follow us all. We would love it. At this point, folks, thanks for listening. We will see you next week on the Handyman Pros Radio Show.